Well, Kim, did you and Kyle do it? Connie asked, hopefully. Kim replied without enthusiasm, Yes, we did it. Come on, girlfriend. Spill all the juicy details. That was the worst sex I've ever had in my life. I want to kill you for talking me into it. What? I thought Kyle was supposed to be amazing in bed. Maybe according to him, the only sack he deserves is the burlap sack they put him in before they throw him in the river. Oh my God, that sounds awful. Tell me what happened. It was the last night of the conference. Kyle had been hitting on me the whole time. I finally decided to take your advice and do it. I think he almost peed his pants when I invited him into my room. He immediately started undressing. Before I knew it, we were in bed. After a few strokes, he fired his pencil. Kyle immediately started apologizing and blaming me for being so damn hot that he couldn't help himself. He promised he would perform better the second time around. He came around pretty quickly, and we had sex again. Well, the second time he went from a 1-0 on a 5-point scale to a 1-1. He lasted a little longer, but I never got anywhere near the feeling of growing bliss. To top it off, he started blustering. I hope your experience with me doesn't spoil you for your husband. I almost laughed in his face. My experience with him wouldn't spoil me even in regards to a 3-inch dildo. What are you going to do? First of all, I'm not listening to you about men anymore. Secondly, I'm still trying to decide whether or not I should tell Martin. Of course you're not going to tell him. I mean, you two were careful not to be seen, weren't you? No one else from the office was at the conference, so no one knows except you, me, and him. The problem is that I think I'd have a chance at forgiveness by confessing to Martin if I portrayed it as a one-time mistake that would never happen again. If I try to cover it up and he finds out later, I think he might get angry enough to divorce me. Even if he never finds out, I still have to live with the secret hanging over my head for the rest of my life. It's a tough decision. What are you gonna do? I'm going to wait a while and think about it. Maybe later my choice will become clearer. Connie was joking. Well, if you do tell him and he divorces you, can I fuck Marty immediately? No way, bitch. They both laughed. Kim was working at her desk when Kyle walked into her office like he owned the place. He locked the door behind him and looked at Kim with a smirk on his face. Hey, sweet cheeks, do you have time for a quickie? You mean for a quick kick in the balls? Yeah, I have time for that. Come on, Kim, don't try to play hard to get right now. We both know you want another round of treatment from Dr. Kyle. You're a selfish, thick-headed asshole. I wouldn't touch your little tool again with anything but pliers, which I would squeeze as hard as I could. Oh, now I get it. Are you into BDSM? Anyway, I can go for it as long as you don't leave any bite marks or scars for my wife to see. You can go for that. You, asshole, see the door. That's where you can go. Kim, I'm noticing some hesitation in you wanting to be with me again. Do I need to remind you that I know what we did and how spreading that knowledge could cause you problems in your marriage? Oh, really? Do you know what my husband does for a living? I heard he's some retarded college professor. Yes, he does teach college during the week, but on the weekends, he teaches martial arts to the police and sheriff's department. He was an officer in the military. It won't take him more than 5 seconds to take you to the ground. Even the squirrels won't touch your nuts when he's done with you. Kyle looked less confident. Kim, do you really want to risk your marriage? How about one last time together? Sex with me is sweet, you know that. I doubt my marriage will be in danger when I explain how you got me drunk and raped me. My deepest desire was only to prevent the shame that would fall on my poor husband, who kept me from reporting the rape. Not only will he apologize for my behavior, but he will take his anger out on you. The question is, do you want this encounter to be the last thing you ever do on your feet? Kyle was almost stuttering. I think I caught you in a bad mood. I don't think it's the right time of the month for you. I'm going back to my office now. Let me know when you're ready for the rematch. Ciao, asshole. As soon as Kyle left her office, Kim screamed at herself. Stupid, 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 stupid. She called Connie to meet her after work. Kim, you look upset. Martin didn't find out anything, did he? No, not yet anyway. Kyle threatened to tell Marty if I didn't keep sleeping with him. Oh my God. Are you going to give up and do it with him again? Hell no. I threatened him back. Told him my husband teaches martial arts to the police. Both women laughed. I think my threat worked, but it makes me urgently decide whether or not to tell Martin. Kim, Have you ever heard about the stories on the site online? I have heard some comments about some of the stories on the site. Why do you ask? Well, they have stories categorized. In the cheating section, they have many stories about women who were given second chances by their husbands, especially in the first stories published. So, you should read those stories. Learn all the excuses, explanations, and promises these cheating women made to get forgiveness. Then you'll have a list of things to say to Martin when you tell him about your date with Kyle. That should greatly increase your chances of forgiveness. You've certainly been wrong about Kyle before, but what you just advised me makes sense. What did you say the website address was? Kim has read hundreds of RDLAT, reconciliation at any cost, stories on the site. If she came across a BTB, burn the bitch revenge story, she moved on. After a while, she compiled a list of potential excuses she could use against Martin. This gave her the courage to open up to him. One Friday night, Kim cooked Martin's favorite dish and served wine with it. After the meal was eaten, they took their wine glasses and went into the living room. Soon they were already cozying up on the couch. When Martin looked quite content and relaxed, Kim cautiously approached the subject. "Marty, I'm so happy to be married to you. I feel like I'm the luckiest woman in the world. You are so attentive, caring, patient, and forgiving. Sometimes I think I don't deserve you. Kim, you deserve me and every bit of my love and more. I swear I'm falling in love with you more and more every day." They kissed tenderly. "You know what made me fall even more in love with you a few months ago?" "No, what?" "It was the day I had a car accident and a dented car fender, and it was my fault. I was so sure you'd be mad at me. I was terribly worried about it. I even thought about not telling you and fixing it without you knowing. But I realized I couldn't do that to you. I'm glad I believed in your love for me and told you. You were so kind and loving. You didn't rebuke me and encouraged me. I felt so relieved. That's when my love became even deeper." "Honey, I love you so much." Kim gave her beloved husband another sensual kiss. "Kim, I'm really glad you feel that way. I want you to be able to feel safe and let me know anytime you feel like you've done something wrong. I promise you the same thing. I can't think of anything you could do that would make me love you less." "I love you too." Kim thought, it's now or never. "Marty, I have one more thing to confess. I was too scared to tell you before. Please promise me you won't get mad and yell at me." "Kim, I would never do that. What are you trying to tell me? It can't be that bad." "Well, do you remember when I went to that conference in Daytona a few weeks ago?" "Yeah, and I really missed you." On the last night of the conference, my colleagues and I sat in my room, drinking, talking, and just blowing off steam after sitting in boring lectures for 3 days. Since it was my room, I didn't worry about how much I drank. After a couple hours and a few more drinks, people started to slowly disperse until it was just me and this young guy from California. He was a typical surfer guy, roughly handsome, quite muscular, and he had a nice tan. Anyway, he pulled a joint out of his pocket and asked me if I wanted a drag. I hadn't smoked it since college, and the last one I'd tried wasn't nearly as strong. I didn't think there was anything special about it. We went out on the balcony to smoke. Again, I felt safe in my room, and since I was no longer in pain, I agreed to try it. It turned out to be considerably stronger than any I had ever smoked. Before I knew it, he was already kissing and nibbling my earlobes. You know how much that turns me on. Well, I'm afraid to say that shortly after that, he started kissing me all over. I swear I don't remember if he took my clothes off or if I did. It took Kim a second to suppress her tears. "Oh, Martin, I had sex with him that night. Well, I guess I did. I don't remember too much after he started touching me everywhere. I cried for an hour straight until I had to pack my things to leave in time. I managed to get myself cleaned up and looking presentable before I got home. Honey, I'm so sorry. I made a big mistake. I don't have a good excuse. It was my fault. There was absolutely nothing in the way you treated me that made me weak that night. I will absolutely never let that happen to me again. I will never touch hard alcohol or drugs again. I will never be in a hotel room with any man other than you again. Ever." She sobbed for a while. "Marty, I will get on my knees to beg you if I have to. Please forgive me for this one time I've lost my way." Crocodile tears flowed. She looked back to see Martin's reaction. Martin was stunned. His wife's confession of adultery was the last thing he would have thought of. He remained silent with a stone face. This was an excuse for Kim to move on to the next line on her prepared list. Actually, what I did hardly qualifies as cheating. I hardly knew the man. It was just sex once, and I barely even remember it. There is only one man I loved, and I still love him. I'm going to spend the rest of my life making amends to you for that indiscretion. I'm going to see a psychologist to find out what in my psychological makeup could have driven me to do such a terrible thing. While I think it was mostly due to alcohol, I need to make sure there isn't something else in my brain that I need to look at to make sure I never do anything like that again. Kim, I certainly agree that you need counseling. I hope you don't believe I need to walk with you. I really don't want to hear any more details about how you were so easily seduced. Marty, I don't think I was easy to seduce. It was more like a perfect storm of alcohol, marijuana, and ambiance. I felt safe in my room, but that only made me more susceptible to seduction. I can avoid a repeat of this circumstance. I know I can. Don't you see that? My mind is too clouded. Right now, I can't see anything clearly. That was Kim's key to getting to the next point. Martin, maybe I can clear this up for you, honey. Let's say the shoe was on the other foot. Suppose you came to me and admitted to dating another woman. Would you want me to give up on you that quickly? Yes, I would be hurt, but I truly believe I would agree to forgive you. Our marriage means too much to me to break it off over such a small setback. I suppose you think it's easy for me to say that since the shoe isn't on the other foot, but I can prove it. I'll let you go out and find yourself another woman to have sex with. I won't blame you for this. Once this is over, we'll be even. We'll forgive each other, and neither of us will ever lose our way again. Kim, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. You want us to heal a marriage by breaking the same vow twice. That makes about as much sense as you trying to heal my broken leg by breaking your own. That would mean that neither of us would be healed, and we'd both have broken legs. Oops, that didn't work. Move on, Kim. Martin, there's someone else we should look into. Who, your new boyfriend? No, of course not. I don't even know his name or how to contact him, and I don't want to know. I'm talking about our future children. One of the reasons I married you, and I think you married me, is because we wanted to share parenting responsibilities with each other. What if the pills I've been taking for the last couple weeks didn't work and I got pregnant? Would you have walked away from me or Martin or Martina's future? Would you be happy if the first of our planned children were on the way right now? I want to be able to count on you being here to help raise our child. Are you saying you're pregnant? I don't think so, but I'd really like to be pregnant. Honey, we could start tonight. I'll throw away my pills and we could practice making babies. Kim, I don't know if I want to have a baby in this marriage right now. I certainly don't feel like practicing when I imagine someone else enjoying what used to be mine alone. In fact, you just added the possibility that you're carrying your lover's baby right now. Next idea, Kim, now. This will be yours and yours alone. I got my period after the conference, so I'm not carrying someone else's baby. Let's go back to my mistake. I wasn't vigilant and allowed a thief to come in and steal a small part of what is yours. I have already installed a better security and protection system in my brain. From now on, you will be the only one with access to my body. To show you how confident I am, I will sign a post-nuptial agreement stating that I agree to walk out of the marriage with nothing if I ever have sexual relations with another man. That includes custody of any future children. You know how much having children means to me. I can't give you any better proof than that. The tears flowed again. Tears were in all the stories. But I thought I'd already gotten your promise of exclusivity. You know, the one you made at our wedding. That was the vow you broke when you put yourself in a compromising situation with alcohol and marijuana. It was a vow you broke when you let him kiss and fondle you. It was a vow you broke when you realized you had no clothes on. It was a vow you broke that may have destroyed our marriage irrevocably. Please don't tell me you mean it. Our marriage can be fixed. It has to be. Why? Because you say so? Okay, Kim, time is of the essence. No, because the alternative would cost you too much. If you divorce me, I will fight you to the end. Not because I hate you, but because I know that staying married is the best thing for both of us, despite what you may be thinking at this moment. I would hate to do this, but I will go after every dollar, every painting, every cup, every pillowcase in the house if it slows things down. The more time you have to think about it, the more likely you'll realize what little importance it must have on our marriage. Her words didn't seem to have much effect. Time for a bombshell. Martin, I may even have to file a mental abuse and neglect claim. Do you want your good name tarnished? When people find out what the problem was, you'll be ridiculed for not forgiving me for a single mistake. Don't lose the rest of your treasure because one small piece was stolen. Martin, I'm trying to make you realize that not forgiving me isn't worth it. Put aside your wounded male pride for once. There will never be a second time. Forgive me this time, this one mistake of mine, and let's move on together. Our dreams of living together and playing with our children and grandchildren can still be realized if you would only forgive me. Her arsenal was empty. Kim, after listening to your concerns, I have to admit that this is not a decision to be made lightly or quickly. I need some time to think about it. I think it would be best if I leave for a while to be able to do this. He went upstairs to pack his things. When Martin came downstairs with his bag, Kim asked, Martin, how long will you be gone? I don't know yet. Will I see you and be able to talk to you during that time? Maybe if I need to do something for you or if you need something to keep the household running while I'm gone. Marty, I love you. Please don't forget that. I know you do. I love you too, Kim. That's why it's so damn hard. Kim was on her best behavior during the time out from the marriage that Martin took. She was determined to win him back. She even went back to church. For friends who asked about her husband's absence, Martin was on sabbatical. Kim stayed home at night, although Connie and others persuaded her to go out occasionally, even if there were no men present. Several weeks passed, but Kim did not give in to temptation. For all she knew, Martin could come home at any minute, so she stayed home. It was over a month before Martin called and asked Kim if he could come over that evening. He didn't even hint at what his decision was. She made wine and coffee in case he wanted one or the other. They sat at the kitchen table with coffee cups in their hands. Two pairs of sad eyes met. Kim began the dialogue. What have you decided, Marty? Are you going to divorce me? Marty, no, I'm not going to divorce you. Kim's eyes filled with tears of joy. Oh, Marty, I'm so happy. I promise you I'll be the best. Oh, wait. You might not be so happy when I tell you what I've decided. Kim's joy quickly evaporated. But you said we weren't going to get divorced. That's mostly true. Let me explain. I thought about giving you a second chance for a long time, but I couldn't get your betrayal out of my mind. I didn't know how to forgive without being able to forget. Every time I thought I was ready to forgive you, the memory of your confession of betrayal would come back and my forgiveness would be gone. I finally came to the conclusion that I couldn't continue our marriage if I couldn't punish you in some way. I thought I could put up with your infidelity if I could get some measure of revenge. The question was, what was the right punishment for the sin you had committed? I went to a friend for help. This friend advised me to go to a website called Best Weapon. There are stories there in the cheating section about reconciliation, as well as stories about burning the bitch. My friend advised me to ignore the reconciliation stories and focus on the so-called BTB stories. I have to admit, I was amazed at how much the methods of revenge against cheating wives varied greatly in type and brutality. It was very enlightening. After reading a bunch of BTB stories, I decided that even one betrayal of wedding vows is unforgivable. Wedding vows are supposed to be eternal. Thus, a broken wedding vow makes the marriage dissolved forever. When I remembered your threat about how you would fight divorce, the path became clear to me. Kim, I'm leaving you. I have a teaching position at another college and I'm leaving tonight. I won't be filing for divorce, and you can have whatever I leave behind. I only took half of our liquid assets. You may have a hard time keeping the house and paying the mortgage, unless your lover wants to help or you find a replacement for me soon. As you already know, you definitely have the looks to attract a lot of fuckboys. Postponing my departure will only hurt you and me more. Goodbye, Kim. I truly loved you and truly wish you all the best. Martin stood up and walked out the door. Kim ran to the door and saw a familiar car hitched to the back bumper of Martin's car. The sight of a passenger in Martin's car confirmed her assumption, which she had made as soon as he talked about looking for revenge stories on that popular website. There was Connie, kissing Martin as he got behind the wheel of his car. Kim walked up the driveway to the car but didn't bother to say anything to Connie. It didn't make any sense. Her look probably conveyed the message she wanted to send to the bitch. Connie smiled and loudly promised her to take good care of Martin. As the car touched down, Connie stuck her right hand out of the passenger side window and lowered it so Martin couldn't see. She extended the middle finger of her right hand, smiling broadly. Kim had to agree with her in one respect. She had screwed up, in a royal way.